Hello everyone, welcome back. If you think AI image generation is just about making cool wallpapers or funny avatars, you are officially behind the curve. Google's latest update, codenamed Nano Banana Pro, has completely changed the game. I've been testing this model heavily since the day it was released, and I can tell you it's no longer just an artist. It's a data scientist, a teacher, and a designer rolled into one. The big difference? It can actually read the text, it understands the logic, and you can edit the images just by talking to it inside the Gemini. So today, I'm skipping the hype. Based on my experience, I'm going to share top 10 things this model is absolutely elite at doing right now. Before we start, a small favor. If you have watched few of my videos and found them helpful, I would love for you to consider subscribing. It's free and it supports the channel and you can always change your mind later. Let's dive in. Alright, so we are in the Gemini app. So once you land, you can see they introduce something called Nano Banana Pro. You can click try now and you can immediately start using Nano Banana Pro here. So the first one is what people are calling the greatest compression algorithm in the history. We are going to take the complex information and turn it into a whiteboard summary. So Google just released a paper called nested learning and people are calling it the second version of attention is all you need paper. And like you see, it's a pretty complex paper. And we'll ask Nano Banana Pro to simplify this for us. I just attached the paper and instead of asking for the summary, I'm asking Nano Banana to create a whiteboard photo explaining these concepts like a professor. Let's see what it'll do. Look at that. It organizes the logic, draws the diagrams and writes the legible text. It condensing the pages of information into the single visual snapshot. This is massive for studying or general brainstorming. Alright, so our use case 2 is accurate data visualization. Old models, they couldn't handle the numbers. If you ask the chat, it'll give you gibberish. But let's see what Nano Banana can do. So I just attached the NVIDIA quarterly reports and asking Nano Banana Pro to create an infographic summary of a quarterly earning report. Watch this. I'm giving it a specific financial metric. Nano Banana Pro actually reasons through the numbers. It doesn't just draw a chart like an image. It draws a summary that actually represents the data. Alright, our use case 3 is visual tutorials. Imagine you need to explain a process, right? For example, you want to explain how touchscreen works to a student. You can basically prompt something like create a step-by-step infographic explaining how touchscreen works from a finger tap to the signal processing. Nano Banana Pro is running on top of Gemini 3 Pro, meaning it already has the strongest reasoning model in the world and Nano Banana Pro is the visual layer on top of that. And you can actually see it's thinking through how touchscreen works before coming up with the visualization. As you can see, it came up with the human touch, the distorting electric field, sending the signal and processing the coordinates. Awesome. Now let's move on to the use case 4, scale and proportions. And we name it the banana test. It seems silly, but it proves the model's intelligence. It's the ability to understand the scale. So to test that, I pasted a prompt saying that generate a chart showing 4 bananas. The first one is 25% size, the second is 50%, the third is 75%, and the last one is 100% size. And I'm also asking them to label them. Previous model would just give you 4 random bananas. This one understands the math behind the visual request. If it can do this with bananas, it can absolutely do anything with product mockups and architectural scaling. Speaking about architectural scaling, our use case 5 is technical blueprints to reality. So what we're doing here is I attached a blueprint of a 2-bed 2-bath apartment and then I'm asking a photorealistic image of what this house looks like built. As you can see, it has kitchen, 2 bedrooms, dining, living room, bathroom and a porch. This is absolutely madness. I didn't have to re-upload anything. I just talked to the blueprint. It read the floor plan and converted into a 3D photorealistic render. Hey interior designers, this is your new best friend out there. I mean, imagine number of applications this will create. Alright, our next use case is smart visual staging. Here, what we're doing is I attached a screenshot of an empty room and asking the Gemini to stage this room with a mid-century modern green velvet couch, a glass coffee table, and an abstract rug. Of course, you can do this with individual images of those props as well, but I'm pushing Nano Banana to imagine these props and render them correctly into this image. Let's see what it will do. Speaking of visual staging, I actually used Nano Banana Pro to design a wardrobe in a new room I'm constructing in India, and it absolutely nailed the job. Look at the lighting on the velvet and also reflection on the glass table. It kept the room dimensions but added exactly the furniture I asked for. It understands how objects interact with the light and the space. Alright, number 7 is my favorite. I call it reasoning based editing. For this use case, we'll ask Gemini to generate an image of a man holding a coffee cup looking happy, and we'll ask Gemini to change the expression and the vibe of the photo to match the current scenario. Alright, the dude is looking happy. Now we'll change this person's expressions and the vibe. So basically we are telling Gemini that he just got a bad news about one of his suppliers' price increase, and then we're asking Nano Banana to change the expression and vibe of the photo to match. And what we're trying to convey this here is this reasoning based editing. So it's not just giving you one image and saying goodbye. It's just going back and forth to continue your editing process until you're happy. Okay, so this is the previous image. And this is the image with the sad expression. And it's not just that. I didn't tell it to frown. I didn't tell it to make it lightning dark. I gave it a scenario. It reasoned that bad news means a concerned face and maybe a more somber tone. So it edits based on a story, not just the visuals. Alright, let's move on to our use case 8. Consistent brand assets. So for this use case, we'll ask Nano Banana Pro to create a new logo for a pizza brand called Atomic Pizza. And I'm also asking it to feature a robot. What we'll do next is we'll ask Nano Banana to show the pizza box, a delivery hat and a t-shirt, all featuring this specific branding. So it gave us two options. I mean, it's just one logo but different backgrounds. Awesome, that's useful. Now we'll ask to generate a pizza box, delivery hat and a t-shirt. And one more thing I want to mention, we've been executing all these use cases in a single context and it's still pretty good at following my instructions. Like I mentioned, it's backed up by Gemini 3.Pro reasoning. And Gemini 3.Pro has huge context window. Look at that. It takes the core identity and applies it across different physical objects with correct perspective. If you're mocking up a dropshipping store or a company's swag bag, you can do it in seconds. Our use case 9 is the impossible group shot. So this one solves the biggest headache in AI, group shots. Usually AI blends faces together. I mean, it's a hit or miss, right? Sometimes it works, sometimes it won't. But Nano Banana Pro is pretty consistent with these kind of group shots. Alright, I'm asking Nano Banana to create a wide shot of team of 6 people working at a conference table. Distant faces, different ethnicities and clear lighting. Look at this, so realistic. And one of the most important thing, Nano Banana is secretly adding an invisible watermarker here. And speaking about group shots, Nano Banana Pro can handle up to 14 reference points. Meaning you can attach 14 different objects and blend them into a single image without losing the consistency of those 14 different images. Alright, use case 10 is accurate text. And this is the one we all been waiting for. The text that is actually spelled correctly. To test this, I'm asking Gemini to create an image showing the phrase, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? That's pretty complex, right? Let's see how it's gonna render. I'm asking it to made out of wood chucked by a woodchuck. Honestly, I copied this prompt from their Google blog post. Let's see how it works. Okay, alright, let's see. That looks pretty accurate. No spelling mistakes, it exactly followed the prompt. And text looks good, and also it's made out of wood chalked by a woodchuck. Great job, Nano Banana Pro. Alright, so that is the Nano Banana Pro. It's not just about the image quality, it's about the control, the text rendering, and the ability to reason with the model inside Gemini. Like I said, if you think AI image generation is just about making cool wallpapers and funny avatars, go check it out, Nano Banana Pro. I want you to try all these use cases and let me know what you think. If you found this helpful, hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.